All right, everybody, welcome back to Unpacking the Backpack. Yeah, so if the sound's a little off today, I'm doing this from my computer. Well, I'm always doing it from my computer, but with my headphones in because I'm on location at the National Principals Conference in Seattle. And it's Saturday, so I have some anxiety because I usually have this recorded a few days in advance. However, if you are a loyal listener to this podcast, you know that I come to you raw, and I'm not going to edit it. So I'm going to try not to make any mistakes. I want this podcast to feel like just a conversation. So we will see how this goes. And today, as I think about the topic, I think a great one for both leaders and teachers is how do we justify change? Oh boy. Yep. We're going to go there. But I talk about change a lot, and I think it's important because, people react differently to the word change. And it should always begin with, these three questions. And I take these questions from the work of Simon Sinek and his Golden Circle. We often focus on the aspect that has the most clarity, the what. But we got to shift that and focus first on the why. So what I want you to think about when it comes to change is, why do you do things the way you do them? How might you do it better? And what tells you if you are successful? So we're going to use those three questions because change is an inevitable constant in education. If it isn't, it surely should be. I mean, though everything's changing around us. So while change can be met with resistance, effective leaders understand that it's often necessary for growth, innovation, and most importantly, to meet the needs of students. And remember, everybody, my definition of leadership is not about position, title, or power. Leadership is about action. So as we think about effective leaders, how do you lead your classroom, your school, your district, your system? And if you are an effective leader, you understand that change is a constant. As a principal, I vividly remember spearheading several major change initiatives, such as improving grading practices, my state's first Bring Your Own Device initiative going back almost 17 years, selection and implementation of a new evaluation system, development of the academies at our school. And, our academies were a school within a school model. Maybe I'll do a podcast on that coming down the road. Adoption of virtual courses. And again, that was 15 years ago. Establishing learning walk protocols. And, implementing personalized pedagogies, all while improving achievement. Now, I might have spearheaded change, aka I got it started, but it was my teachers that actually embraced different, better, to make these changes a reality and embedded in our culture. These were all significant shifts that required justification. And change without justification is a leap into the dark. Illuminate your path with reason to help others see the value. That's a quote that I kind of came up with to really think about how you help people not buy in. You're not salespeople, and you shouldn't have to sell people on more effective ways to do things. You want to get people to embrace. So you need to illuminate your path with reason to help people see the value. To successfully justify change, leaders should focus on these 6 elements that I'm going to really go into on today's episode. Articulating a compelling vision, addressing concerns, presenting research and evidence, providing support and guidance, celebrating successes, and being patient and persistent. So, and I will put an image into the show notes so that you can kind of see the visual of what I'm going to discuss here. But let's first talk about, if we want to justify change, we need to articulate a compelling vision. A clear and inspiring vision is essential for motivating people to embrace different and better. Leaders should paint a picture of the future state, emphasizing the benefits of the specific change and how it aligns with overall goals. The vision should be communicated effectively through a multifaceted approach, something that I emphasized in my book, Digital Leadership. Ensuring everyone understands the why behind the change is vital, but articulating a vision can only happen after you work with your people to create a shared vision. If it is just your vision, people will say, well, what does that have to do with me? Why do I have to do this? So again, not just articulate a compelling vision, make sure people have their voices heard to create a shared vision. Number 2, present research and evidence. These play a critical role in justifying change by providing a solid foundation for decision making. By examining quantitative data, showcasing qualitative evidence, sharing case studies, you all as leaders can illustrate trends, uncover potential problems, and evaluate the effectiveness of different approaches. People want to know that it works. And who can blame them? They also want to know, how can it be implemented effectively? And what constitutes success? When presented to educators, this evidence-based approach helps to mitigate risks, builds trust, and ensures that changes are aligned with the vision and goals. Additionally, research can be used to anticipate potential challenges and develop strategies to address them proactively, ultimately leading to more successful and sustainable change initiatives. It's very easy now to access research. You could search Google Scholar, old-fashioned way, or you could use tools, AI tools like Consensus, Gemini, ChatGPT, and ask it, hey, for this strategy, for this change, for this initiative, align 5 peer-reviewed research articles that support this in APA format. Done. The harder piece is getting the evidence, everybody. And to present evidence, you need to look beyond our comfort zones, beyond our lens, beyond what sometimes can be our silos, and look what other schools, district systems are doing and have done it successfully to show your people that this is a worthy endeavor. Number 3, address concerns and questions. We know change can be unsettling for many people, leading to concerns and questions. Leaders must be prepared to address these questions both directly and honestly. Acknowledging the challenges and providing reassurance builds trust and alleviates fears. It's important to listen attentively, to address concerns, and clearly explain the decisions made. I remember I wanted to implement a communication-based tool for families. And I got a lot of pushback. Eventually, we did not go through with it. The challenge was I really did not address proactively many of the concerns that my staff had. What I should have done was get them to present their concerns and questions, process that before attempting to ram it down their throats. And once I saw the error in my ways, I kind of backtracked and did not move forward with that initiative. But, think again, how you might poll your people if you want to change grading, change the schedule, look at, implementing personalized pedagogies or adaptive tools, whatever. Think about how you'll get them to address their concerns, how you'll address their concerns and answer their questions. But also, be prepared to have your own questions. And, I know when we actually started moving forward with some initiatives and we found success and then I still got pushback, I'd say, hey, everybody, I hear your concerns. And if you can show me the peer-reviewed research that supports your concerns, I will reconsider. And that was vital to really addressing the yeah buts and the people that were just against change. They just didn't want to do it. So something to consider. Number 4, provide support and guidance. Implementing change requires support and guidance. Leaders should provide the necessary resources, professional learning opportunities, feedback, and mentorship to help people acclimate to the new environment or conditions that would result from these changes. You as leaders can empower your staff to succeed in the face of change by investing in their growth. But when you do that, understand the pitfalls. Try to avoid drive-by and one-and-done events, as the research is pretty clear that these don't lead to sustained change. Instead, your support and guidance should come in the form of job-embedded and ongoing professional learning that combines presentations, workshops, coaching, mentoring, strategic planning, PLCs, and an inspirational keynote here and there. Creating a supportive and inclusive culture can develop a sense of belonging and reduce resistance to change. When we look at support and guidance, it should be tied to efficacy. And as leaders, if you invest in efficacy, first, plan for it. When you plan support for your people, when you plan your lessons, is it aligned to research? Is it ongoing? Is it job embedded? If it's just something we need to do or check a box, it's not necessarily going to work. We also need to implement with fidelity. Effective implementation that leads to efficacy involves continuous feedback, accountability for growth, and evidence of impact. So, when you support and guide your teachers, your people, your students, think about the elements to lead for efficacy. Number 5, you got to celebrate successes, everybody. Justifying change isn't just about vision, research, evidence, addressing concerns, questions, providing support. It's how do you build people up? How do you show them that the changes that we are embracing are actually improving teaching, learning, and leadership? Recognizing and celebrating successes along the way is crucial for maintaining momentum and morale. Something Nikki Slaw and I highlight in our book, Personalize. By focusing on the positive outcomes of change, you can reinforce the benefits and encourage continued commitment. It also helps to build a sense of accomplishment and pride amongst your people. One thing I did as a principal is I had my brag sheet. It was called the Principal's Report. And what I did every month was I put out a template and I told my teachers, share what you're doing. Because we wanted to see the results of our professional learning, our shift in grading, our bring your own device, our personalized pedagogies, our flexible spaces, our walkthroughs focused on improving thinking, relevance in the classroom, increasing engagement, yada, yada, yada. And I give them this template because number one, I couldn't be everywhere, even though, I did 5 walks a day, my team 100 a week, 400 a month. But what we wanted to do was kind of begin to curate that evidence and create the pathways to commend and praise our people for their hard work. And by the time, the principal's report had everything from like field trips, student achievements, staff accomplishments, innovative practices, facilities, guidance, the arts, athletics, and then there was another category when I didn't know where to put it. At the end of each month, I had anywhere from 6 to 20 pages of pure awesomeness. And I double proofed it, created a nice PDF, and I shared that report, not just with my staff, with my entire community, and using social media, the entire country and the entire world. My teachers were put on a pedestal for all to see. And the sense of pride was a shift in making sure that we were doing the right work, validating the right work, which is why we were looking to change, not for the sake of change, but to use time more effectively, to improve outcomes, to grow our practice. So think about how you celebrate success. And you don't just have to do it publicly. I did my report. We did it at faculty meetings. But you can do it with notes, cards, Post-its, phone calls. Notice I didn't say email because a lot of stuff can be taken out of context. Finally, number 6, to justify change, you need to be patient and persistent. Change is often a gradual process, and it may take time for your people to fully embrace the new and better way of doing things. It is vital to be patient and persistent in the efforts to drive change. By maintaining a positive, supportive attitude, you as leaders can inspire your people to overcome challenges and achieve the desired outcomes. Don't give up. Keep going back to the other 5 points that I shared today in this podcast. Because by following these guidelines, you can effectively justify change and create a positive and productive culture. Always remember, change is not just about implementing new processes or technologies. It's about transforming how people work and think. Leaders, you all can ensure a successful transition to a brighter future by inspiring and empowering your most precious resource, the people who actually implement the change. Keep this in mind, everybody. When it comes to justifying change, you are not going to change people. You are not going to change every behavior. The key question to ask is, do you create the conditions where people want to change? So again, as you work to justify change, number 1, articulate a compelling vision. 2, present research and evidence. 3, address concerns and questions. 4, provide support and guidance. 5, celebrate successes. And 6, be patient and persistent. Everybody, as always, I really, really appreciate you tuning in to Unpacking the Backpack. As I mentioned, I'll put some more information in the show notes. Also referenced 2 of my books, Digital Leadership and Personalize. You can check them out on Amazon. And if there's anything that I mentioned, like grading practices, academies, anything that you want more information on, just shoot me an email, escheninger@gmail.com. or go to ericscheninger.com, and my information is there, and I will send you everything that we did. And I'm not saying that it is the way you should do it, but if it helps you justify change in your respective context, well, I am here to help. As always, everybody, until next time, keep making a difference.